Welcome to Therapist Spotlight.
Hello everybody, welcome to Anta's Therapist Spotlight, the podcast where we aim to showcase our wonderful members to the wider community. I'm your host, Joshua Brooks, and with us tonight we have the wonderful Sheetal Kallada. Sheetal is a naturopath and a homeopath, so this is going to be fantastic to talk a little bit more about the energetic medicine. Sheetal, how are you tonight?
I'm very good, thank you. And thank you, Joshua, for having me on this show.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure. So, first question, how did you get into natural medicine?
Well, I've been always passionate about health. And I remember even as a child, when I fall sick, my mother always consulted a homeopath. And while I was getting treated, I used to call them sugar pills. And it was fantastic the way it worked. And growing up, I had already experienced how effective homeopathy was. After school, I decided to do my bachelor in homeopathy, and I was quite happy things went. But my curiosity in natural medicine, specifically herbal medicine and diet, started when I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. My doctor said to me that because you have gestational diabetes, it's very likely that later on you may have diabetes. And this kind of concerned me because when I looked at my lifestyle, I had a pretty decent lifestyle, a very healthy lifestyle, was very active, always had home cooked meals and never had junk food in my life. And this was very surprising for me. And I didn't believe that this was hereditary, though when I looked into my family history, my dad suffers from diabetes. My grandma died from complications from diabetes, and my grandfather had history of heart attacks. And there was all of these metabolic disorders running in my family. And this kind of increased my curiosity as to why, as a family, we did suffer from these disorders, though we had a healthy lifestyle, a very active lifestyle, and had a very sort of healthy diet as well. I started unraveling these, we can say these kind of mysteries. And that's when I realized that it's not all about what you eat. It's about how you digest and absorb. Later on, I did my self-guided research on nutrition, metal toxicity, and other things that possibly can give rise to these conditions. To my surprise, when I did my hair analysis test, I found that I was high in arsenic, and this further helped me investigate why these metabolic disorders was running in our family. And later on, I found that high levels of arsenic can actually lead to diabetes. And this was a healing process for myself. And that's when I decided, when I was suffering from gestational diabetes, I did use homeopathic medications to control my symptoms, which I did very well. But I wanted to prevent these as well. And I've done that to studies ahead with naturopathy and help my clients not only with homeopathy, but also with nutrition and natural medicine, both.
Ah, wonderful. So you just broke up a little bit there. So you were saying with your diabetes, how did you treat that? Sorry?
With gestational diabetes, I used homeopathic medications. I wasn't a naturopath then. And I managed my sugar levels very well. And it was just through homeopathic medications and diet that I was able to control my sugar levels then.
So with the arsenic that you found with your hair analysis, when I went through my training, I had a wonderful homeopath who was also a homeopath, was one of my lecturers. And he was telling us this really interesting story about a sheep farmer that he actually treated. And the sheep, when he did all the tests, it was arsenic. So he gave him arsenic-cium, I believe it is. And he was saying that the sheep farmer, all of his neurological problems started to go away, and he started to walk. He started to, and the one thing that he told him was that his sheets would just stink. So it was actually literally getting rid of the heavy metal toxicities. How did you find that with homeopathy? Did you find the same sort of stuff? It was really good for detoxing. It was really good for getting your body to remove those heavy metals.
Yeah, look, it's quite, you have to kind of individualize the patient first. And with homeopathy, it's basically not based on just the symptoms. You have to go with totality of symptoms and individualize the case. And in my case, I have been using as our CM and as well as tissue salts, and I'm into tissue salts as well. And we find that certain mineral deficiencies can lead to these toxicity, and also with arsenic or any other heavy metals, you find it depletes the other minerals in your body like zinc, magnesium, chromium, and these all are quite linked to diabetes as well. So it's kind of quite complex how these minerals work in your body, and I believe that you have to individualize the case before you can recommend anything.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the big things about homeopathy and all natural health, isn't it? We treat them as an individual, and we look at their whole health landscape and what we can do to push everything in.
Yes.
So what grabbed you about homeopathy rather than sort of naturopathy first? Was that because of your experience growing up as a child?
Yes,
or
exactly.
something else that you like about it? What really, like, what do you love about homeopathy?
Well, as a child, what I loved was you don't have to take all those shocking, medications and the tablets, which were so difficult to swallow. I used to call them sugar pills, and I loved I loved going to my homeopath because I knew I would be getting those sugar pills without taking all those nasty syrups.
And so when you're looking at so how exactly does a homeopathic consultation work? So if I'm a client that comes to you, what are the kind of things can I expect from a consultation with you?
Okay, so Joshua, as I mentioned, I'm using all these three modalities. So I'm doing naturopathy, homeopathy, and tissue salts together, along with nutrition. So I'm kind of giving a holistic approach and using all of these three modalities for treating my patients. Now, with the case taking, I go with totality of symptoms. I try to look for the peculiar symptoms, which are classic when it comes to homeopathy. So say, for example, you may have a client who has a dry cough, and the cough gets aggravated when he goes out from a heated room to a colder temperature. And then you can have a person with the same kind of dry cough, but it gets aggravated when he's says he has cold drinks or even or hot water, whatever the reason could be. You find that the reasons of cough is different, though it is dry cough, and that completely changes the remedy that you select. Yeah,
wonderful. So what kind of questions are you looking at? So is it are you just looking for that sort of that symptomatic thing, or are you looking at clients who are needing a full life overhaul and then you can apply the same thing? Are you looking at like their low energy pregnancy? What kind of clients do you look for to bring into your clinic?
Well, I've been looking at clients specifically with skin conditions like eczema and asthma in children, but also as I have done my own research and I've been involved in treating diabetes and managing diabetes. Well, you can't treat, you have to manage it. I have been helping out customers and my clients with not only with diet management, but also helping them with supplements, helping them to see if they have any sort of metal toxicity, and educating them. That's more important, to have a healthy lifestyle.
And so when we're talking about homeopathy, I'm sure everyone's heard of it by now, but some people may not have. So what's the difference between homeopathy and your traditional naturopathy?
Well, in naturopathy, you're using the crude herbs and supplements and nutraceuticals, which obviously you can get from pharmacies. But in homeopathy, you're using the lowest potency possible by individualizing the case.
And so do you make those remedies up at your clinic, or do you get them brought in? How does that process work?
I usually get them from Martin and Pleasance. They have the laboratory in Port Melbourne. So I get the dilutions from them and I mix up my own remedies.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And so do you also use flower essences in your practice?
Not really.
Yeah. Okay. So
But I use tissue salts. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's sort of my next question is, how do you know which remedy to give to people? Like, how do you know if they sort of look at tissue? How do you make that distinction between what one client needs and what one client doesn't need?
Well, tissue salts very tricky because, again, it's the same. So when I have a patient in my clinic, the case taking starts as soon as they give me a call asking for an appointment. So that's where my case taking starts. As soon as they walk in, the body language, even the way they write down their symptoms. And all I ask them to do is just talk about whatever they have to say. I listen to them and then I interrupt and ask questions only when needed. So this, when you're talking about the consults, it's not just the symptoms. As I said, the body language, the skin color, the hair texture, all these gives me an idea, especially for the for recommending tissue salts, and facial analysis is what I go with. Say, for example, the lines on your forehead, drooping eyelids, these all give me a directive of the right tissue salt remedy.
Yeah, wonderful. And the same sort of thing for your homeopathic remedy as well? Facial analysis and everything? Or is that more specific to the tissue salt?
To some extent, but facial analysis more for tissue salts. And we all have some or the other kind of mineral deficiencies. We all do. So fixing those and taking those long term can actually prevent a lot of conditions. And look, there's what I know is there's nothing like hereditary. So there's I know genetics and hereditary conditions are something that is being studied, but when it comes to hereditary conditions, it's not, don't blame your genes for that, right? So your dirty genes can be changed just through the right sort of mineral supplements, your diet, lifestyle, and the right herbal medications or supplements, whatever needed.
And so this is where we're starting to talk about the epigenetics that everyone's discussing now.
Yes.
And so have you found that the tissue salts and the homeopathics, because they're a little bit more on the energetic spectrum, that they can really help with that epigenetics and that changing of everything? How have you experienced that?
Well, I've experienced that myself. And look, I've managed to keep diabetes at bay until now, because when you look at my family history, by this time, my mother, my dad, my grandma, they all were diabetic. And well, I've just recently done my blood test and I'm still sitting at the normal range, which is fantastic.
Yeah, wonderful. That's awesome. And so in terms of your naturopathic qualifications and consultations, do you like to prescribe liquid herbs? Are you a capsule sort of nutraceutical naturopath? What way do you like to go with those kinds of things for people?
Well, I go with both, but it really depends on what my customer wants. And well, you don't want a client where you mix up all these herbs and they would never take it. So it really depends what suits the patient.
And have you found too much resistance between the herbs and the naturopathy? Like, do you find that your clients are happy to take the homeopathics as well? Because I mean, there's a little bit of a conflict in Australia at the moment with homeopathics. So do you find it's a little bit of a hard sell sometimes? They prefer the herbs, or how have you found that in your clinic?
It was very difficult for me at the start, especially because they look like sugar pills. I don't think anyone will believe the energy that these medications have. So what I used to do is obviously explain my clients what I'm going to recommend them, and explain the herbs and even homeopathic medications, tissue salts. And I give a blend. So I go with natural medicine. I do give my homeopathy, which doesn't interact at all, but I'm kind of balancing the energy with both of these kind of medications. And now I have my most of my patients who actually come asking for homeopathic medications, especially children love it.
Yeah, wonderful. Like you said, it's like that sugar pill for children, isn't it?
Exactly. And I've got a lot of my clients, the young clients, especially with cough and cold medications, they love to have these homeopathic medications. And surprisingly, when you may have a dry cough, which and you probably go with all those cough medications, which might take 2 weeks or so to get rid of it. But with homeopathy, it may take only a couple of days.
That's fantastic. So what would be your favorite herb to use?
My favorite herb is ashwagandha or Britannia.
Yeah. That's
an Epigenetics herb. Yeah. And I do like curcumin as well. So I use that a lot. And I found that I do work in a pharmacy as well as a naturopath. So I'm aware of, the most popular herbs at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And have you found that there are more people coming to you for homeopathics and naturopathy over the last year because people have been a bit more conscious of their health? How have you found that? You've found that more people are seeking you out with these natural medicines?
Oh, absolutely. And what I'm finding is, as I said, even in pharmacy, there are a lot of customers where, the doctors have diagnosed them with high cholesterol or say high blood pressure, and they don't want to start on any statins or hypertensive medications. They're looking for natural options because now people do realize that these disorders can be very well managed through supplements and diet. And I think, natural medicine is being recognized and people do understand that these are the safest options.
I guess, have you found working in a pharmacy yourself gives you a little bit more of an in with those patients who maybe are a little bit more skeptical? You can actually start to talk to them a little bit more and encourage them and teach them because you're in that pharmacy?
Yes, and I work in a pharmacy as a naturopath. So it's like I'm on my own, and then I have a team just against me who believes in pharmaceuticals. But the popularity that natural medicine has gained is amazing, and I have a lot of customers who are regulars and who come and seek advice from me before they actually start on any pharmaceutical medicine. And I think people now realize with all these adverse drug reactions and, the side effects all these medications can give you. And they're happy to go and try natural medicines before they go on to any of these.
And so, like you said, you may have a little bit of a team against you. So you haven't found that so say, for example, if they prescribe a pharmaceutical, they're not sort of coming to you to maybe ameliorate some of those side effects. Have you found that sort of synergy or not so much? Or how's that work for you?
That's the beauty of natural medicine, because I think when people around you see what you can do with natural medicine, they start believing it.
Yeah.
It's not all about the talk, right? So, they see that it works, and you get all these reviews from your customers and your clients, which possibly is the best thing, because I can prove myself while I'm working in that environment. Yeah,
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Sheetal, for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. If people want to see you, where can they find you? Where's your clinic? Do you have a website? What are your socials like?
Yes, I do have a website. So it's www.skhealingtouch.com. And I am located at 125 Stud Road, Dandenong, Victoria. And they can contact me on 0450774640 or email me at sk.healingtouch@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Well, all those links will be in the description below. We'll make sure that they can get in contact with you. And if anyone's around Dandenong in Victoria, please look up Sheetal and go and see what she can do for you. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We've really appreciated your time and presence.
Thank you, Joshua.
No worries. And everybody else out there, have a good night, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Therapist Spotlight. If you would like to know more about ANTA, visit us at www.anta.com.au.